How many of you have been stuck in your life? Now, I'm not talking about being stuck on a traffic jam. I'm not being stuck in an elevator. I'm talking about those life situations when you really felt helpless. You were clueless. You were confused. You were almost desperate for a change. Now, we all have been in these situations sometime or the other. That job that you're working, you're slogging your butt off, but that promotion seems to be far and elusive. You're on a diet for weeks, maybe even months, but that weighing scale just refuses to move. It's difficult. These situations, when we feel stuck, are difficult to handle. Essentially, during this time, you feel nothing seems to change, even if you want it to. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, the feeling of being stuck in life can be very depressing and frustrating. And I went through this phase 15 years ago. And what I'm about to share with you now is something which very, very, very few people know about me. And that is that I almost did not get married.
No.
Did not get married. Now, in India, there's a culture of what we call arranged marriages. The families come together, and as tradition says, they go and visit someone called an astrologer, trying to get the compatibility of two people together. Now, my marriage was not an arranged marriage, but the luck of fate, my parents decided to go and see one. Not a very sagacious move. Guess what the astrologer told them? He told them, if your son gets married to this girl, he's going to die within 10 years of your marriage. Now, many of you might think that's a ridiculous claim, but that shook my parents. They couldn't handle it. Now, I tried to convince them, and eventually I did succeed. And they managed, and they agreed to go to an engagement. So the date was set, 7th of September 2002. The engagement was there. My wife's parents set the scene. Everyone was invited, catering taken care of. On that day, the engagement was supposed to take place at 11. At 9 a.m., my parents broke down. They couldn't handle it. We decided to call it off. I can't imagine the plight of my wife's parents. The embarrassment that they had to go through when they called up their friends and family to say that the marriage was called off. And while all this was going on, I was a mere spectator. I felt helpless. I was angry, disillusioned, depressed, confused. I was stuck. It was during this time that a family friend visited us. And he told me a story which till date I remember. And each time I'm stuck in my life, I remind myself of this story. This story is that of a king, a very wealthy king. And this king, the only thing that he had was he had a lot of problems in his life. So one day he called his ministers and he said, I want all of you to go out there and find that one solution to all my problems. Now, the ministers couldn't refuse, so they set out, even though they knew this was an absolutely ridiculous ask. After months of searching, they came back and they told the king, there is no such solution. The king was disappointed, but at that point, a poor farmer, walked into the castle and he told the king, I have the answer to your question. I have that solution that you're looking for. He presented a box to the king and he told the king, my lord, that box has the answer to your question. It has the answer to your problems. As a matter of fact, it has the answer to anyone and everyone's problems in this world. Now the king thought that was a tall claim, but he got curious. So he opened the box slowly, and guess what he finds in that? He finds a note which read, "This too shall pass." Ladies and gentlemen, when you feel stuck, remember this. Everything in life is going to change. That's the truth. Now, when things change, something else happens. You start getting new perspectives about life. You start to look at things differently. Your whole paradigm about things changes. Now, I was reading this article on Forbes.com. It was about Howard Schultz, who was the ex-CEO of Starbucks. And he was delivering a speech about his business, which is Starbucks. And during his speech, he mentioned the word coffee maybe once, but he mentioned the word passion many times. So one of the interviewers there caught this, and he went up to Howard and said, "Mr. Howard, I heard your speech, and you just used the word coffee once. Aren't you guys in the coffee business?" And this is what Howard told him. He said, "We're not in the coffee business serving people, but in the people business serving coffee." You see, Starbucks is not selling coffee. Starbucks is selling human connection. The whole mission of Starbucks was to give us a place between your office and your home. A place where you could go, meet people, connect with them, relax, and also do business at the same time. The coffee was just incidental. Imagine what this did to the Starbucks employees. When they heard this, the whole paradigm of what their business meant changed for them. The way they looked at their customers changed. The way they treated their customers completely changed. Imagine what that can do to your life, a paradigm shift. Now, when I look back at my own incident of the engagement, I believe I had a similar paradigm shift. Till that time, I used to think that true love is about finding that one person who you want to spend your life with. But after that incident, I realized that true love is actually finding that one person you cannot live without. As Steve Jobs says, you can only connect the dots by looking back. You can never connect the dots by looking forward. That day, looking back, I could connect the dots. So, before I go on to that last slide, there's another incident I want to talk about. Professionally in my career, I've been very successful. Till about 2012, I was a star performer in my company. In fact, I got promoted every 2 years. And in 2012, something happened. We went through a reorganization. I got a new manager. And this new manager had a very different management style. She came up and she did not trust me even an inch. I had to make sure that every decision I took went through her. And often she would override my decisions. And she micromanaged me to death. I was stressed. I was feeling depressed. My self-esteem was at its low. And I couldn't talk about my self-confidence. But today when I look back, I'm really grateful. And I think those 2 years with that manager were probably my best years in my career. Why? Because she taught me a few things which nobody else taught me in so many years. She taught me how to hold people accountable. She taught me the importance of making decisions at the right time. She taught me the importance of meeting deadlines. Ladies and gentlemen, today when I look back, I can indeed connect the dots. Ladies and gentlemen, as the famous Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, the only constant in life is change. So the next time you get stuck, remember these phrases. This too shall pass. Quote by Wayne Dyer, he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And lastly, you can only connect the dots by looking back. Thank you.